everyone, it's Tatiana from Tatiana's Everyday Food and welcome back to my kitchen. If you're a chocolate lover, today's recipe is completely dedicated to you. Today I'm sharing the ultimate chocolate cake recipe. So this is a 5-layer chocolate cake, and then I soak each layer with a chocolate syrup, and then I'm going to use a chocolate buttercream to finish everything off. I love this cake because every bite is so chocolatey, so rich, and absolutely delicious. So if you love chocolate, you absolutely must watch this recipe and give this cake a try. Today I'm going to get started with my chocolate sponge cake. So into my mixer bowl, I'm going to add in 9 large eggs that I've brought up to room temperature. And the most important part about a sponge cake is the eggs. So you want to make sure that you whisk them enough. They should be very light and fluffy and almost white in color. To the eggs, I'm going to add 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. And I'm going to mix this for about 10 minutes with my mixer until those eggs reach the right consistency. I have my eggs all whisked now, and right at the end I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm just going to whisk this for about 30 seconds just to get the vanilla incorporated. And now for my dry ingredients. So in a small bowl here I have 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. To that I'm going to add 1/3 cup of dark cocoa powder and 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. Just take a spoon and toss all of that together. I transferred my eggs into a large bowl so you guys can see just how much volume they need to have for this recipe to work great. So once you have that ready, it's time to mix in the dry ingredients. So I'm going to use a fine mesh sifter today, and I'm going to sift the flour and the dry ingredients in small batches. And this is important because you want to get everything incorporated. You want to fold the ingredients in gently but thoroughly. So what I do is I just take my spatula and just kind of scoop it across the bottom, and then just bring everything up to the top and work your way around. Just spin your mixing bowl, just get everything incorporated. All right, so I have my cake batter all down now, and now it's time to get my cake layers into the oven. So today I'm actually going to be using 5 cake pans. So if you don't have 5, what you could do is just use 2 8-inch cake pans, and then once the cake layers are cooled, you could just split them in half for a total of 4. So I've lined the bottoms with parchment paper, and I highly recommend using a kitchen scale. And I'm just going to portion out the cake batter between the 5 cake pans, and then I'm going to pop these into my preheated oven, and they're going to be in there for about 18 to 20 minutes, just until that top is completely set. I have my cake layers cooling, and now I'm going to get started on my buttercream. So I have 4 sticks or 2 cups of unsalted butter, and I've softened the butter at room temperature. I'm just going to drop it into my mixer bowl here, and I'm going to whisk the butter on high speed for about 5 to 7 minutes because I want it to be really light and fluffy. I have my butter all whisked, and now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. So I'm going to flavor this with about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then I'm going to add in my sweetened condensed milk. So I have a 1 14-ounce can, and I'm going to add in a little bit at a time and just whisk after each addition just to get everything incorporated. And for my final ingredient, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of dark cocoa powder, and I've sifted it beforehand so I don't get any clumps in my buttercream. I'm going to add that right in. I'm going to give this a good whisk and then scrape down the sides of the bowl as often as you can just to get everything incorporated. Today I wanted to soak my cake layers with a nice rich chocolate syrup, and it's super easy to make at home. So I have 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and to that I'm going to add 1 cup of hot heavy cream. So you want to just heat it in the microwave before adding it. I'm going to add it right in. So I'm just going to take a whisk and then just combine all that together until that chocolate is completely melted. My chocolate is all melted now, and I'm going to add my last and optional ingredient. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of gold rum, and it adds just the tiniest little flavor to the cake, but I really like it. I think it's a great addition. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. And now I'm just going to pour my chocolate syrup into my dispenser bottle just to make things super easy when I'm pouring the chocolate over the cake. And now I have everything ready to assemble our cake. So I'm going to do the same thing with each layer. I've peeled back the parchment paper. I'm going to take my chocolate syrup and just soak the cake layer generously. Next, I'm going to add on a little bit of my chocolate frosting and just use a flat spatula and spread it evenly to the edges. And now all that's left to do is frost the top and the sides of the cake. I'm working my way around my cake here with a flat spatula to smooth the sides out because the garnish I want to place on this cake requires a really nice and smooth finish. So once this cake is all smoothed out, I'm going to place it into the refrigerator and just let it sit there for about 20 minutes so the buttercream can start to set on the outside. I transferred the rest of my frosting into a pastry bag. I'm just going to add a little bit of garnish to this top of the cake before it's ready to be enjoyed. And that's it for my ultimate chocolate cake recipe. So if you guys want to use the same garnish that I used on this cake, this beautiful chocolate cake wrap, I actually made a separate video tutorial for that, and I'll include the link to that video in the description below. I think it's such a beautiful garnish and it can be used on a variety of different cakes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna dig in and give this cake a try. I love all those 5 layers. Everything just looks so gorgeous. This chocolate cake is phenomenal. Once you take a bite out of this cake, you'll understand why it's the ultimate chocolate cake recipe. I absolutely love the chocolate sponge cake layers. They're so light and airy, and they've soaked up all that chocolate syrup, and that French style buttercream is just so fluffy and creamy. It just kind of melts into your mouth, and it's the perfect finish to this cake. If you're a chocolate lover, this cake is a must try. If you do make it, snap a photo of it and post it on Instagram. I love to see you guys' creations. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.